Hello everyone, I hope you're doing fine. My name is Skyline and I'm back. Hopefully there won't be any more unfortunate interruptions going forward with this channel because there have been quite a few this month from the power outage and stuff like that. So we're back, hopefully permanently. Now, I'm just going to get back into the swing of things, I think, with a quick video here about the new Lucio. Now, I know I'm 2 days late to the party, so I won't go into excruciating detail with the new changes, but I am going to gloss over them real quick just to make sure everyone's on the same page. His projectile speed was increased by 20% and is quite a bit faster now. It's very noticeable. It kind of hits that break point between a slow projectile and a pretty decent speed projectile, so it makes it much easier to land. Also, so his healing aura got increased pretty substantially by 50%. This brings his passive healing from 12.5 up to 19 health per second, which is, approaching Zenyatta's Harmony Orb. I'm not going to say it's quite there, but definitely much more comparable than it was before. Amp It Up also now heals for 54 health per second as opposed to 36 health per second. This means that it lasts 3 seconds, right? So it heals for 150 instead of like 100. So that's actually pretty decent. Going from 100 up to 150 takes care of a lot of damage breakpoints. A lot of stuff does like 120 damage, 125 damage. So jumping from 100 to 150 total health healed over 3 seconds is more significant than maybe the 50% sounds right off the bat. Also, the most fun change, my favorite change, is that Lucio gets a burst of speed after he jumps off a wall. So now you basically get the speed aura effect without even having speed aura on, as long as you have walls to bounce off of. Also, while you're doing the wall grindy righty thing, this also has an increased movement speed as well of 30%. Taking a moment to tap the wall real quick gives you a really nice burst of speed, pretty comparable to the speed boost from Amp It Up. So this is a huge change. Not only is it freaking awesome, it's so fun to do, but it also keeps Lucio mobile even if he has his healing aura on. So he doesn't have to always stay on speed aura just for his own personal gain. But this doesn't come without a cost. So you can see by the circle on the ground here, this is the range of my aura. My aura is now 10 meters. They nerfed it from 30 meters down to 10. Now, just to give you an idea of what 30 meters is, 30 meters! Wow, I can't even believe it was that much at any point. 30 meters is this robot here. So the 30 meter circle would be like this. Basically, from 30 meters, I can cover literally the entire map that I can physically see from this point. Maybe not that super mega, like that far wall all the way back there, but I can cover pretty much everything. And now with the radius nerf, it's obviously pretty close. You have to be pretty close to people, plus, the way circles work in area, 30 meters down to 10 meters is a massive, massive area decrease. Plus, they decreased the radius of sound barrier. It used to be 30 meters, like the aura, but now it's only 20, so you see those bots don't get it. I assume they figured like, oh, well, the aura is 30, so sound barrier should be 30, and they said, oh, well, now the aura is only 10, maybe sound barrier should be 10, but 10 isn't obviously large enough, so sound barrier got nerfed down to just 20, which is still pretty reasonable. There aren't many scenarios where you're not going to be hitting people within 20 meters of sound barrier. And one more cute change is that you can change the direction that your boop goes by looking in different directions. So for example, this robot, bam, boop him upwards. You can never do that before. It used to always go straight in whatever direction you're facing. You couldn't boop people up. So basically we have a whole slew of buffs coupled with one big giant nerf to the aura radius, obviously. And now I love this change. It really goes along with my idea that I was talking about before regarding core identity of a hero. Remember when I was talking about Anna and core identity a few videos ago in another PTR review? Let me clarify that the core identity of a hero is not necessarily what was intended by the developers. I would say 90% of the time, 99% of the time, what the developers intend to be the core identity winds up being that way, but not always. It's simply the thing about a hero that makes people drawn to it. On the hero select screen, why do you pick this hero? Besides the fact that it's OP or whatever, but what makes the hero fun? Now for Lucio, I think that people think that the idea of being this guy on rollerblades going around, going super fast, doing tricks, spinning circles around people, full on air gear style, while pushing people around and harassing them, I think that is the idea, the concept, the identity of Lucio that people think is really fun. That's why people love watching DSP Stanky, because that is the thing about Lucio that people think is the coolest. I think it's pretty reasonable to say that most people don't pick Lucio because he has an aura. I don't think anyone's like, oh man, I love auras. Yeah, let's pick Lucio because auras are my jam, right? I mean, well, I guess if there's any aura aficionados out there in the comments, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that most people pick Lucio because of his mobility traits, his special movement mechanics, his wall riding, and his gun, his boop, and the uniqueness of that. And before, Lucio was not actually really fulfilling the identity that a lot of people really were expecting of him, because the way his aura worked, it had a 30-meter radius, so you can be in, Brazil somewhere, you could be on vacation in Hawaii and still be giving an aura to your team from super, super far away. And so the best way to play Lucio in a lot of cases was to just sit back and not die and just sort of exist. Now, yeah, you can go up, make a play, do some stuff, that's cool, but really, it usually wasn't necessary. 90% of Lucio's value came from just his speed boost. So you just, sit in the back, exist, throw out some green little Oreo things, and you're good. So with this change, they nerfed the aura, the boring aura that people don't really think is fun or anything like that, and they buff his mobility. His wall ride is sick now. Oh my gosh, it's so good. His boop is better. His healing is, the potency of the aura, mind you, is better. The potency is better, but the radius was nerfed because they gave the 50% healing increase. So overall, this was just a change to make Lucio fill that core identity better, and I thought it did a great job. Now, is it a net buff or a net nerf? That is an interesting question. So obviously, because of the radius, you can't just have like a Pharah flying through the sky while Genji swoops in from the flank and Tracer comes in from the other flank and your Reinhardt charges up and just speed boost all of them because your radius covers the entire map. You can't do that anymore. So now you really have to choose which heroes you want the speed boost on, or if you still want your entire team speed boosted, you need to all be in that tight little circle in this sort of tight-knit death ball. Now, I think a lot of people are kind of too set in their ways of the entire team needs to be speed boosted. So, for example, in a dive composition, they're like, oh, you can't do it anymore because you can't speed boost the Genji and the Tracer and all that because they're all way too far out. When really, I mean, they're pretty mobile heroes anyway. What's to say that they can't just come in by themselves and use speed boost the slow heroes that matter? It sticks on afterwards, right? So you can still speed boost the Winston, you can speed boost everyone else up who needs to be speed boosted up. I think people can live with only having a few people speed boosted in that particular scenario. But more importantly, so the problem with the speed boost in general was the fact that it was an unrestricted mobility buff, and that's really OP. There's no way that couldn't be OP in a game like this. So they made a trade-off. Now you have the increased mobility, which is of course just the increased movement speed, but now you are limited in where you can actually go. You have to be near the Lucio to get it. So between the speed boost having a trade-off now, and all of his abilities being much better and much more interesting, the radius being lower, so we need to worry about positioning more, Lucio's become a much, much, much more interesting, fun, awesome in general character to play with, to play as, and to play against. So that's awesome. I love that. The question is this a net buff or a net nerf? Who knows? I don't know, and if anyone says that they know, then they are maybe thinking a little bit, I don't know, too highly of themselves or something, because you can't just be like, oh look, 5 buffs and a giant super mega ultra nerf, I know exactly where the hero is right now, right? You can't just be like, oh yeah, just eyeball that, I totally know. No, I have no clue. For all I know, this new battle Lucio could be sick. Players can go and take these duels and 1v1 people, and the speed boost, maybe they'll have good enough positioning and they'll abuse the fact that it sticks on for a second or two to be able to still speed boost the majority of the team. Or maybe it actually is true that, oh man, so much of Lucio's value is locked up in the speed boost that now you can't speed boost everyone. We need to watch more games. I think that Blizzard did not intend this to be either a nerf or a buff. I don't think that they know whether it's going to be a nerf or a buff or just be a neutral. I think they just wanted to put Lucio in a good spot so that moving forward, they actually have things that they can adjust. Because right now, before they couldn't adjust anything. He had speed boost, They nerfed that like 3 times in a row. There was nothing else they could do. Like they were at a brick wall. They could no longer nerf Lucio further. So they had to do this rework so that they could adjust his balance in the future. Kind of like what they did with Roadhog. Remember when they did the non-balancing change to him just to make it so that in the future they had more knobs to work with when balancing him. So that's the same thing here with Lucio. I don't think this is intended to be one thing or the other. It's just intended to make the hero more of a hero instead of a speed boost bot. I think they did a really good job of it. I have an entire ridiculous backlog of VOD reviews in my email, so I might be putting out more VOD reviews over the next week, but it's not going to take the place of a normal video. So, for example, I'll have my normal videos, but I'll also be posting VOD reviews alongside those at the same time. So I think that's what I'm going to do to try to go through some of them, because I feel so bad having so many of them in my email. There's some really good ones with really good questions, and it was pretty clear that the players spent a lot of time on it. So, without further ado, let me know what you think about the Lucio changes in the comments, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a nice day, guys. Never forget to stay positive.